Vail's played host to many famous people, but if you ask folks around town, no one put Vail on the map quite like this man. As the story goes, he was invited here by a friend when he was a congressman and fell in love. Even after he became a vice president and later president, anyone who knew Gerald Ford and his wife Betty said they were just regular people. The Fords aren't just mountain lore. They also left a lasting legacy that continues to enrich the community today.
Jerry Ford was a congressman from Grand Rapids, Michigan, and he had a condominium here.
President Ford was invited by a friend of ours, John King Resource, and he brought President Ford here as a congressman at that time. And so we had dinner, and I hit off very well with Mrs. Ford.
When they used to come here, there weren't a lot of restaurants, there weren't a lot of things. They would go have dinner at like the Gorsuch's home or with Pepe and Shika at their restaurant, like where I think if they were in another town that was maybe a little bit more established, they would have just gone to a restaurant. But instead, they were literally having dinner at people's dinner tables in their homes. And so it just made them feel like they were just a part of our community.
I mean, he was as wonderful, like down to earth. People stopped him on the street. He said hello to everybody. Sure, he had the Secret Service around, but at that time, it wasn't such protection, you know? But he was a people's man.
Jerry Ford was a skier, and he was a darn good skier. But then after he became president, it's a challenge, and that is how do you have a president of the United States skiing up there, which is visible. Part of what we did working with the Secret Service was the police chief, Gary Wall, and I used to ski with him. He wore different outfits where it wasn't, you could just say, oh, that's the president, you can see that outfit. And then we closed parts of the ski area. So that was a whole adventure. The Fords were very, very involved here and loved this place. And so we named it Ford Park. And then we're in right here now, the Ford Amphitheater.
When it first opened, because of President Ford and Mrs. Ford, they were able to get, when they first opened, it was Bob Hope and Willie Nelson were the first people on the stage at the Gerald R. Ford Amphitheater, which is incredible.
We get the Ballet Ballet here, the New York Symphony. This is really put Vail on the map as kind of in terms of arts and culture.
Vail International Dance Festival, kind of had crazy beginnings, right? Like with their first, season essentially being the Bolshoi Ballet from Russia at the time during, right after the Cold War. And what essentially it is, it's the best dancers from all over the country and all over the world. And they mix and match dancers that you would never normally see together. So it really is, it's this really high level, high-end experience of dance.
Up on the side of the hill there, the idea was, let's take all the Alpine plants that are around here that people don't know and that need to be cultivated and in some cases actually need to be protected and make a home for them. So this became the home for Betty Ford Alpine Gardens.
She asked me to support the Betty Ford garden. So anyway, I said, no, I really don't. And then she said, don't let my garden die. Please, go on the board. So I made a deal with her, okay? I go on the board if Susan, her daughter, comes too on the board. And so we made a deal. Susan came on, I became, and then 2 weeks later, Patty passed away. Patty, before she passed away, she became a really good friend over the years, and at the end of it, almost like a mother to me.
Vail was known internationally to some degree, but mostly as a ski area. But after Ford, really, when he became vice president, put Vail on the map.
Thanks for putting Vail on the map, Mrs. Ford and Mr. President. Follow for more mountain lore to discover.